So what traps life force particles? Let's have a look at all the different causes. So in pursuit of your goals and the living of life, you can collide with flows of negative life force particles that will trap most of your available positive life force particles. As you might imagine, there are infinite combinations of life and events that can lead to the loss of positive life force particles. Yet it has been found in training and coaching individuals that once the majority have been contacted and released, the rest begin to release naturally as the person lives life. So really all we need to do is access the main areas. The most destructive elements in the individual's environment are areas of, paradigm crashes. So let's look at what a paradigm crash is. Paradigm crashes are caused by the person's encounter with such an overwhelming flow of negative force that their whole paradigm, their belief system of self and their future quits working and crashes. Usually these crashes have to do with people in the person's immediate environment, parents, partners, kids, or the person's dreams and aspirations, and are caused by being connected to one or more paradigm crashers. Crashers. If the crash is too big, the person will find himself with a negative belief system that opposes all his goals, people and things. So you end up being opposed to everything, and will lead his life performance and personal relationships into a steep decline. The person will be magnetized to attract the wrong people, the wrong whats, the wrong whens, the wrong wheres, the wrong whys, hows, and the wrong moods. This observation supplies a basic law. You ready for the law? Paradigm crashes are the major cause of your life, an area, a trend, or you as a person getting worse. So we need to access these crashes so you don't get worse. Or if you have got worse, let's work out what the crash was and then dismantle it and release the trapped life force particles. If you have major paradigm crashes, say if a golfer has a major life force paradigm crash, or a baseballer, or a film star, or a businessman, or a husband, or a wife, you will find that your life is getting worse. The athlete will find he cannot recover his form. The actor or the actress will not get the roles that they want. The writer will have difficulty writing, and couples will encounter marital problems. So if that's your issues, not getting the roles you want, losing form, not being able to write, writer's block, and marital problems, relationship problems, it could be a paradigm crash. Paradigm crashes tie up a huge quantity of life force particles and turn them into negative, and they turn them out of control, out of your control. What makes a paradigm crash so destructive is that it destroys your future and it traps huge quantities of life force particles. A typical paradigm crash is a broken love affair. So imagine, if you will, people, when you are in love, huge amounts of life force particles are invested in the dreams, visions, and plans to create a wonderful, joyful, prosperous, happy life for you and your loved one. The future looks beautiful. Often you and your loved one experience a considerable rise through the zones. Falling in love and loving can be, and most often is, like a period of enlightenment. You experience pleasures and perceptions about your life and environment that you did not even know existed. Oop. You trust someone completely. You act with certainty. Your head is full of great and wonderful possibilities. You have favourite tunes, a favourite place to dine, to play, to dance, to just sit and talk, and favourite places to be together. You have beautifully, joyfully created and produced a spiritual, mental, and physical model that is now an actuality. You are higher than a kite. Then one day you come home early. Uh-oh. There's a strange car in your driveway. Your heart skips a beat. There's a sinking feeling in your stomach. You hear laughter as you open the front door, and the laughter is coming from upstairs. You climb the stairs and move toward the bedroom. The door is half open and you see, reflected in the mirror, the love of your life naked on top of one of your friends. Your dreams, your visions and futures crumble in on themselves. They collapse. They implode. There is a terrible aching hurt that emanates from the pit of your stomach. You are in shock with the pain, the hurt, the betrayal, the loss, the unexpectedness, the crash of your spiritual, mental, and physical creations. As your dreams for the future turn to rubble, high quantities of life force particles get imprinted with your anguish. Now your once favourite tunes, places and precious moments act as painful reminders. You lose your power, your drive, your wealth, and you lose your happiness. From this moment on, nothing in your life really works. You are never as happy again. You have lost a vast amount of life force particles. You are stuck in a paradigm crash. The next area that ties up large quantities of life force particles is the situation of a person being opposed by negative flows of life force particles that prevent them from achieving their goals, dreams, purposes, or intentions. So, what is a huge negative flow of life force particles that opposes you? Here, the tied up life force particles are trapped at the point where the person is unable to attain his objectives, which is the point where the opposing flow of force was met. This causes no advancement to take place. It could be like an accident, it could be a fire in your house, it could be you getting sacked, it could be a major interruption. So other areas that negate a person's flow of life force particles are areas of out integrity, where you do something really wrong, that you are out of integrity, and then you try and cover up. The person will have a lot of life force particles tied up in attempting to prevent being found out. Being basically honest, and because he doesn't want to cause harm, the person will turn his flow of life force particles inward to restrain himself to prevent further out of integrity and harm-causing acts. So this can often be perceived when someone is having an affair and then they come home and they're completely shut down and they're not interacting in the same happy way. Finally, one of the major culprits of trapped life force particles is chemical substances, such as drugs and alcohol, which are terribly destructive to the individual. These substances totally usurp the individual's control over their flows of life force particles. This causes the individual to do things that they wouldn't normally do, which act as violations of their integrity. So it becomes an out of integrity as well. In turn, life force particles get trapped in the false awareness and existence that the drugs or the alcohol create. So you might, if people are on drugs, they might hallucinate and think they get these great ideas, but it's actually not their own experience. It's out there. Then you've got to actually recover your own life force particles. It's not a real creation. It's not an actual structure or paradigm that gets built. It's an artificial one. So you have to re-access those, not by doing drugs, but by dismantling that false paradigm. Often an athlete, an entertainer, or a businessman uses drugs or alcohol as a substitute to make up for a lack of available positive life force particles. So it's sort of counterintuitive. The result is even more life force particles tied up in an out integrity and stupor caused by the drugs and alcohol. Substance abuse in the hope of false awareness and a feeling of well-being is all too common in today's society. When too many life force particles are trapped and there is a synthetic attempt to create life force particles by using drugs or alcohol, the result can be a crashing mental and physical breakdown, an implosion, a complete immobilization of ability. And at that point also the person may actually have a physical allergy to the alcohol, which then tips them into the category of becoming an alcoholic, which then they cannot even drink alcohol again because it starts this incredible craving process. So all of these situations act the same as having too many windows open on a computer. When you have too many windows open on a computer, it ties up all the available memory and the computer can no longer function. It's a good analogy. All of its bits and bytes are used up in processing programs and actions from the past, and none are available for what you want to do now. So the same happens when a person has unresolved past paradigm crashes, upsets, shocks, incidences of opposition by negative forces, times of out integrity, drugs or alcohol incidents. These all tie up the person's life force particles, leaving none available for use in the present or the future. So it's a very good thing to get some processing to release your life force particles. So if that is sounding interesting to you and that you might actually be able to do some work in those areas and you feel comfortable that I could help you, please go to my website and email me as well. And we can arrange a time to do some life force particle recovery processes. Okay, thank you.